cream of the crop. Nobody does it better.
Baby, you are so money and you don't even know it.
I understood that reference.
Morning, Mr. Hammond.
Your mission, should you accept it,
Steal, destroy, shadow,
disappear, assemble the team,
And here we go.
Greetings and salutations. Welcome to FreeWheeling Fridays. Yeah. Here as part of the Madness Entertainment Group. I can't help it. I grew up on pro wrestling, where we talk about all things pop culture, but we also introduce you to some of the best indie creators from all over the world, and we find out more about them specifically by taking your questions. I am your host, Ryan of And I Quote Channel, and our guest on this episode is someone who has one of the most unique names I've ever heard in my life, because when I think of this individual's name, the first thing that comes to my nerdy, ever since I was 3 years old, little mind, is the scene where these three characters are interacting with each other, and he says, I lost the sigh. Then it is gone. No, I can get it back. I can get it back. Raphael, let it go. Hi. Please welcome from Bitten Apple TV. Bitten Apple TV, good God. My words are being messy already. Please welcome podcast creator, host, producer, manager, comic book extraordinaire, comic book historian, maybe. I don't know. Raphael, let it go.
Oh, me? Okay.
Good to see you, man. How you doing, Raphael? It's good to see you. Welcome into the show.
Doing great. Happy to be here.
We're happy to have you, and I'm sorry that my words got a little bit messy there in the beginning, and also
I do it all the time.
I can't help it, but I grew up watching TMNT 1990 so many times.
Dude, I got to tell you, it's
on
funny
VHS.
that you had the
on
cream of the
VHS.
crop.
I watched this thing on VHS so many times that I can
Yeah.
quote it back to you word for word. I kid you not.
It's so funny that you have the cream of the crop one, because
Yes.
when I first started, I was doing Written Writ as a pre-recorded show, and in Written Writ we would talk about writing.
Yeah.
And I did an episode about character, and I showed up as Macho Man, and I was like, oh yeah, brothers and sisters, you know, you are here, and this is the cream of the crop. Did the whole thing, and that was one of the moments where I went, maybe I'm going a little too far with this.
No, I don't think you went too far. I don't think you're crazy. In the words of Dana Barrett and Peter Venkman, I don't think you're crazy. Oh, that makes me feel so much better. No, it's cool, man. I grew up like a lot of people did. I grew up watching wrestling when I was a kid. I was watching the latter part. For me personally, I was watching the latter part of the Monday Night Wars between WCW versus the WWF during the Attitude Era, which is one of the best, if not the best, era we ever got in the history of professional wrestling. Because when you have two major companies going at that, which is unprecedented back then, unprecedented to have two companies go head to head on the same night at the same time, with people having to flip the dials between two channels every single Monday night, was a beautiful thing. Because I remember either taping one show, watching the other, watching one show, and then having going over to my friend's house and watching his, whatever. It was such a great time for wrestling. It was a great time for sports entertainment. It really was. And if you were there, for those of you who are watching and listening to this right now, if you were there, you know where I'm going with this. Whether it was Sting versus Hogan, whether it was Rock versus Austin, Austin versus McMahon, Triple H and Stephanie. Whoa, wait a minute. What's going on? The Hunter Hearst Helmsley is getting together with Stephanie, and they're making this new era of television called the McMahon-Helmsley era. What is going on, Raph? What is going on?
It was total entertainment.
It was wacky.
And all the
it was
smack
crazy.
talk and all the good stuff.
Oh man, there was so much smack talk being exchanged between Rock, Triple H, Austin, Undertaker, Kane.
Oh yeah.
You know, you had the TLC matches between the Hardy Boys, the Dudley Boys, Edge and Christian. You know, who were young talents.
Yeah.
They were young talents, right, at that time. And then you had the women's division never happened until years later, but the women of 2000s between Lita and Trish Stratus really revolutionized women in professional wrestling. And I give them all the credit in the world. I've had the pleasure of sitting down and talking with Lita at one point at a Comic-Con, because this is the beauty of going to Comic-Cons, folks.
Oh, definitely.
You get to meet some of the biggest names in sports and entertainment.
Yes,
Lita just happened to be one of them. So I sat down and I asked Lita, I said, Lita, of all the matches you've taken part in, all the great moments in the history of your career, what would you say was one of your, if not your favorite moment in the history of your career? She looks at me and she says, actually, it was the moment when we had the TLC at WrestleMania 17, and I interfered during the course of that match, and then Rhino was in the ring. He gored me through the table, or the ladder, I think it was, at that time. And, Edge and Christian were up there, getting the getting the tag titles, and I was just like, really? Of all the like, that's the one you look back. She's like, oh yeah, because it was such a history making moment for the time. You know, it was 2000, I think it was 2001. You know, you had Bubba and Matt off that like 30-foot ladder, just being toppled over into the tables, which is a huge bump to take, no matter who you are. It's a huge bump. It's a huge bump. And I was like, wow, that's okay. I respect that, Lita. I respect that. So, you know, she had a Team Extreme 8x10 at her booth. She signed her portion of it. And then obviously later on, I got Matt and Jeff to sign their portion of the Team Extreme. Hello. Team Extreme trifecta, 8x10 print more specifically. And it was great. Meeting all the members of Team Extreme is one of the highlights of my Comic-Con career. And Lita was great. Matt and Jeff, they're always cool to talk to. Doesn't matter if they're at a show together or whether Jeff's, you know, there on behalf of the Hardy Boys or Matt's there and Jeff couldn't be there. Whatever it is, Team Extreme always delivers the goods. And Woody, who's in the chat right now, says, I heart Luna Vachon from WWF. Yeah, I know who Luna was. She was a little, I mean, for me, she was a little too cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, but probably that was because of her character. I think it was because of her personality. But I do know who you're talking about, Woody. I know who you're talking about. Didn't she have a relationship with Gangrel at one point? Weren't they married? I think they were married in real life, weren't they?
Oh man, I met Gangrel. He's a great guy.
He was at a convention
really
I was at a couple weeks ago. Actually, he was at a convention a couple weeks ago. I didn't get a chance to talk to him, but I saw him at the table, and he still had the vampire teeth. I'm like, oh,
he's still doing the whole Gangrel thing.
Oh gosh,
which I love because I grew up with Vampire the Masquerade.
Okay, you're a Brood fan. Do you prefer the Brood or the new Brood that came after it?
I was more of the whole role-playing thing that he came from, because Gangrel comes from this whole role-play thing called Vampire the Masquerade.
Oh, okay. All right, a little creepy for my taste, but all right. I mean, listen.
Yeah, Vampire is creepy as heck.
Well, it is, because even though I respect the horror genre as a whole, but at the same time, there are things I just don't mess with. I don't toy with, folks. It happens sometimes.
That's a good way to be, because you know, you toy with the stuff, it comes after you.
There's been a lot of horror movies about that. Annabelle, anybody? Yeah, creepy dolls coming after you, trying to possess you and kill your kids. Yeah, get away.
Did you hear what happened with Annabelle?
No. What did happen? What did happen with Annabelle?
Zach Bacon, or whatever his name is, from the Ghost Hunt Adventurers.
What happened?
He bought her, so now he's taking her from place to place, and he took her to a mansion in North Carolina, and the mansion burned down.
Ugh. That's a curse. Get away from that doll. Don't get anywhere near it. It's not happening to me, folks. Just out of curiosity, when it comes to the horror front, we have something that's either out now or coming out here in the next couple of weeks. Are you going to see Final Destination Bloodlines?
Final Destination.
Yeah.
I've never liked it because in my brain it goes, well, it's Final Destination. How do you get a sequel?
Yeah, that's a good point. But then again, Tony Todd, who was Candyman from many, many years ago, said death doesn't like to be cheated. So, which is why they keep making sequels, because death can't be cheated. Really? According to the Final Destination franchise, but I watched the first 3 of them, and that was enough for me. Thanks, get away. Like I said, not the biggest horror fan, but but like you know, like a lot of us grew up watching wrestling, it was a lot of fun. Did you have any specific rivalries or particular superstars that you gravitated towards when you were watching wrestling, or do you still watch it to this day?
I gotta say, it was, for me, it was always Hogan versus Piper.
Oh, jeez. Every time you have the answers, I change the questions. Yeah.
Piper was the man.
Piper's Pit.
My favorite Piper moment is he was out of wrestling for a while.
Mm-hmm.
He comes back. He's fighting this guy. He takes his hand, puts it in his tights, and beats the guy up with one arm.
Wow. Okay.
That's when the audience was like loving him, and he's like, "You're loving me?" Because he was the bad guy for a long time.
I was not aware of this. I don't think I remember this matchup or this situation, because, like I said, I came into it a little bit much later in the game at the Monday Night Wars between Vince.
I love what you're talking about, but I still remember my time. You know, a little bit before your time.
Yeah, Raphael is just a few years younger than me, but or older, whatever it's called. I don't know numbers. I don't care. But what we do care about is getting to know our guests a little bit more. So other than the fact that Raphael and I both are big fans of wrestling, at least certain eras of it anyway, I don't watch the stuff that goes on today. I could care less. Although some of the feeds,
I hear the buzzes
show up,
because we're in the business, so you hear it.
Right.
You get all this information. So
and it's on you. It's on my YouTube feed constantly. Like I'm getting hit with highlights from Raw. I'm getting hit with highlights from SmackDown.
So I know what's going on at all times. I'm not watching.
Yeah, I'm not watching it on a weekly basis like everyone else is.
Yeah.
My good friend Jeff, who we're going to see later this weekend at Fan Expo in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Oh, so you're going to Fan Expo, right?
We're going to Fan Expo, Pennsylvania on Sunday.
This weekend, right?
this weekend, Sunday the 18th, I'm going to be visiting with my friends. Jeff is going to be joining us. Stephanie's going to be joining us. A good friend of ours, a good friend of mine, actually, Christy, is going to be tabling this weekend. I'm so excited for you, Christy. Well done. She does embroidery on canvases. She's a wonderful person. Look her up on Instagram at @snipsandco_, which, by the way, the name Snips comes from Ahsoka Tano from Star Wars because she's a massive Star Wars fan. Hence, she calls herself Snips. Snipsandco_ on Instagram. Follow Chrissy. She does embroidery on canvases. If you need commissions, she's more than happy to do them for you. Just send her a DM, and she'll take good care of you over there. But yeah, we're going to see her this weekend. We're excited to see her. Also, we're going to be visiting with Claudia Wells, who played Jennifer Parker in Back to the Future. We're going to be visiting with James Tolkien, who played Principal Strickland. You're a slacker. Also from the Back to the Future trilogy. And then he was also in the hit film Top Gun. You know, your ego's writing checks your body can't cash. He was that guy. So we're going to be visiting with him. We're going to be visiting with, who else are we going to be seeing this weekend, guys? Gosh, I'm trying to think. Who's the other one? Larry Houston, one of the executive producers of X-Men and X-Men 97 is going to be in the building. So that's going to be a lot of fun to talk his ear off about X-Men, because I freaking love X-Men. Who doesn't? But yeah, Guy Gilchrist, Jim Henson's cartoonist, is going to be there. This will be my third or fourth time seeing him. Love you, Guy Gilchrist. You're the man. So there's going to be a lot of great people.
We were talking about you even before the show started.
Yeah, he's been very, very good. He's been very, very good to me. Muppets and Jim Henson Productions, very, very good to me.
Exactly.
So we're going to be seeing those people this weekend. So if you're going to see us at Fan Expo Philadelphia, in the city where it's always sunny in Philadelphia, I want you to say hi to us at A&I Code Channel. My name's Ryan. I'll be there. What's up, guys? Little cheap plug there for you. But outside of the cheap plug that I just gave Fan Expo Philadelphia, what's up, guys? I expect a check in the mail. Raphael, when were you first introduced to comics? When did you start reading them?
I started really young. I think the first time I was introduced to comics was because I bought a pack of, I don't know if you remember, they used to sell these 3 issues in these little plastic bags. And I got these 3 issues in a plastic bag, and there was instances like this, store somewhere, and I was like, I want that. And then my parents got it for me. And all I remember is that one of the books was a Wonder Woman book, but it was 3 comics, and it was the first time that I was introduced to comics. And I don't remember how old I was. It had to be in the 70s sometime.
Oh, wow. That's going, it's going way back. I'm sorry. That's a little before Ryan's time, but, I heard a lot of good things happen in the 70s. We got, what is it called? So we got Saturday Night Fevers. We got Star Wars. We got the Rocky movies. We got, the Bee Gees, we got John Travolta making all the women swoon. We had disco, even though some people say, forget about disco. We had, let's see, what else we had in the 70s? Gosh, there was so much. We had Jaws. And there's just endless. And
Warriors come out to play.
We had Warriors. Exactly. We had the Warriors with James Remar. I'm going to shove that butt up your ass and turn you into a popsicle. Anyway, that's James Remar, who I had the pleasure of meeting at a Comic-Con many years ago. I had him sign a Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Yeah, Mortal Kombat Annihilation Blu-ray cover, because he played, as we all know, he played Raiden in the follow-up to the 1995 masterpiece simply known as Mortal Kombat. This one was known as Mortal Kombat Annihilation at the time. But, yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bring up bad memories of everyone watching Mortal Kombat Annihilation. But, hey, I have a soft spot for it because I grew up watching it as a kid, so sue me.
And that's how it works. When you grow up watching it as a kid, you remember it a whole different way than everybody else.
That's very true. Did you watch the Wonder Woman television series?
Yep. Loved it. It was a great show. I would spin around trying to change all the time.
Do you still have a crush on that Linda Carter?
Oh, Linda Carter, yeah, she's fantastic, man. She's still beautiful now.
Yeah, even to this day.
Yeah.
And I think she doesn't really go to conventions, but when she does, it's a huge surprise.
Well, it's a big thing.
It's a big deal. Yeah, she's got a line out all 45 doors. Good reason too. Linda Carter, if you're watching this, we love you. Fantastic stuff. Well, that's cool. Understandably so. Who would you say are some of your favorite comic book writers or artists? Any names stick out?
Right away, Chris Claremont pops into my head, because that X-Men run is just epic.
Mm-hmm.
And they're still trying to impersonate it today. And they still use his storylines today. As much as Marvel goes, we're not using his storylines. and then they change his storylines, like Fox did with all his X-Men stuff, and make it worse.
They make it worse. Good Lord.
How do you make a Jean Grey movie without Jean Grey? Or a Jean Grey movie,
but it's bad.
Star.
Yeah, and then the Dark Phoenix storyline gets messed up not once but twice in the span of 10 years, 10, 12 years, whatever it was. It's just so sad. Sorry, guys. Anyway, The movie X-Men Dark Phoenix is absolutely horrible, but I can actually still go back and watch X-Men Last Stand and not really have too many issues with it. I can still enjoy it. I mean, I understand people are upset because of how they handled the comic book storyline. I get that, but as a movie, does it have issues? Obviously, yes, but I still like it. And plus, the concept of finding a cure for the mutant X gene is a fascinating story point, in my opinion.
It was great when they did it in the comics.
Yeah, well, yeah, there was that. There was that too. But yeah, no, I get it. Sometimes things work in film, sometimes they don't. Which actually segues into our next question. What are some of your favorite comic book-based movies or TV series, past or present?
That's a good question, actually. Let's see. I got to say that Batman '89 still holds a place in my heart.
Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds.
Exactly.
Lawrence?
How does he get those wonderful toys?
Exactly. Anything else stand out to you aside from the fact that Batman '89 is endlessly rewatchable and quotable?
With Christopher Reeves, it was an event. It was the first big superhero movie. It was just, you believed it. You'll believe a man can fly. And it's exactly what it was. It just beautiful movie. And it's so funny that a lot of people get upset with me on the Superman take from our friend, the recent one. But I like the actor who played it. I just didn't like the way somebody was portraying the whole Superman storyline, the darkness.
Right. So what you're saying is you like Henry Cavill,
yeah,
who portrayed the iconic Kal-El Superman in one of my favorite movies of all time, Man of Steel. I don't care what anybody says. I love that movie. And Henry Cavill should have had his own trilogy. That's what really should have happened.
Oh, definitely. I don't understand. I got to tell you, that we can agree on. I feel like the disservice they did.
It was the writing.
Was that they only made it one movie?
Yeah, and it was bad writing in the follow-ups.
Yeah,
yeah. It wasn't.
They should have had a follow-up. They shouldn't have done Batman and Superman. They should have done another Superman movie, a Batman Superman movie. Come on, man. Make it work.
Yeah, and the words
were going to rush into Justice League.
Yeah, they wanted to catch up to MCU, unfortunately, and that formula doesn't work.
No,
it doesn't. Yeah, you definitely take your time, plant the seeds.
Mm-hmm.
Don't throw it in people's faces. Plant the seeds, drop some Easter eggs in each movie.
Exactly.
Let people know, oh, wait a minute, Bruce Wayne exists in this reality, he exists in this movie? Yeah, he does. I mean, for example, in Man of Steel, they crush a satellite that's owned by Wayne Enterprises. And what I want, me personally, this is what I wanted to see happen when the first time Clark Kent and Bruce Wayne meet each other, or Batman and Superman meet each other. I think the very first thing Batman should have said to Superman is, "You owe me a satellite."
That should have been
because he broke it. Because you
classic, yeah.
You and Zod broke my satellite that was overlooking the planet Earth and protecting it, and you broke it. So I expect you to get me a new one. That should have been Bruce Wayne's first line ever when he meets up.
It would have been fantastic. The crowd would have been going crazy.
We would have. Honestly, 300 people in the theater, we would have lost our ever-loving minds. I would have been like, "Hep, you're connecting this to Man of Steel," and that's smart because you're showing continuity.
Exactly.
So yeah, no, Henry, we love you. We wish you all the best. He's got a lot of great things in the pipeline.
He's a great geek.
He's a huge nerd.
Tactic stuff he's doing is just amazing. I love watching what's the next big geek thing he's doing.
Yeah. Whether it's Warhammer, whether he shows up in Mission Impossible as a secret agent, which I thought was great, by the way. I don't think this is going to happen, but I would like to see happen, at least for Henry's perspective. I don't think it's going to happen because I think he's a little too old to play this character, but I would still love for him to get it. If the people at Amazon who own the rights to James Bond offer him the role of James Bond, because in my opinion,
there's a lot of talk happening.
Henry Cavill was born to play many different characters in his career. Superman, I love you. I'm always going to. But the character he really should be playing right now, especially now that the DCU stuff is behind him, is you need to be James Bond. You were born to play it. You were this close to getting it when you auditioned with Daniel Craig back in 2005. You got it, and now that you have more experience under your belt, you know what to do when you walk into the room. So give him the job, make him James Bond, give the world a fresh, new movie with this brilliant actor. Give us a different director on set to do the directing, and let's have some fun with this. Let's do this thing because Henry can carry it. I mean, he's shown in The Man from U.N.C.L.E. He showed it again in Mission Impossible Fallout with Tom Cruise, right? Mm-hmm. He can handle international spy intrigue. He can do it. So, yeah, just give him the Bond franchise for the next 5 to 10 years. And Henry, you'd be the man if you got the job.
Exactly.
I love that guy. I'm always going to love Henry Cavill. Yeah, he's cool. But anyway, So you mentioned that. You mentioned Chris Claremont's run on X-Men was as far as comic runs go. Any other comic book movies or TV series that stand out to you? Some of the more recent stuff, or maybe something from the past you forgot to mention?
Let's see, something from the more recent. I gotta say that I
Anyone?
did like the Netflix Marvel stuff.
Oh, the
It was
Daredevil. Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, Daredevil and the rest of the guys.
Jessica
I think
Jones.
the one I didn't like too much was Iron Fist.
Yeah.
That's more because I do a little bit of martial arts, and watching him
Ooh.
do martial arts.
Incorrectly, maybe?
Exactly. You sit there going, wait, I'm not even know I don't even know what I'm doing, and I know that he did that wrong.
Ah, point taken. Point taken.
Exactly, dude. The whole thing was great, and I hated the fact that they canceled it just to wait a couple years to bring everybody back. At least they're bringing them back now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Daredevil Born Again just dropped on Disney Plus. Hashtag not a
Exactly.
sponsor of the show. We just got the news that Kristen Ritter is going to reprise her role as Jessica Jones in
Mhm.
Daredevil Born Again season
Yep.
2, which don't call it that. Just call it Daredevil season 5. Because there were 3 seasons originally, then Born Again counts as season 4, and now you're going to get another season, which is season 5.
See, but that's why they changed the name so they can go season 2,
Yeah,
season 1.
which
It's
is
the same thing they do in comics. Issue 1,
yeah,
issue
it's
1, issue
yeah,
1, issue 1.
exactly. It's a soft reboot, is what they're calling it. But yeah, Kristen Ritter's going to come back, so that's cool. Jessica Jones, she's a badass. A lot of people are excited about that, as well they should be, because Kristen Ritter, Mike Coulter, who played Luke Cage, is great. Charlie Cox is Daredevil. All of them working together is fantastic stuff. So look forward to seeing what happens with that, respectively. Did you get a chance to see Thunderbolts yet?
I haven't had a chance to see Thunderbolts, but from everything I'm hearing, people are really in love with it.
They're really loving it, man. They're
Yeah.
saying, "Oh, Marvel's finally back on track. This is the best film we've had in 6 years." I'm like, "Really? This is the best film we've had since Endgame? That's high praise, man. You better be right about this. Pulling a Han Solo, you better be right about this. Otherwise, there's gonna be problems." But yeah, MCU's got like what 20, 30 movies planned for the next 30 years. Yeah, they're gonna be fine. Don't know if they're gonna work.
Did
All
you
of
like
them.
the whole twist with the new Avengers?
Well, with that, I haven't seen Thunderbolts yet, but I do know where you're going with.
Well, see, I'm giving you information you should know just because of
Yeah,
what we
because they
do.
kind of reveal it. Yeah, it's been kind of revealed in the marketing because this is the thing about Hollywood. There are no secrets anymore.
No.
Which is
Especially
sad.
once they give the movie, there are no more secrets.
There are no more secrets. Once the movie's out or the movie's out, the movie's 6 months out, all the spoilers are revealed in the trailers anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like, what's even the
You know,
point?
somebody out there right now is going, "Why did you say that, Ralph? I didn't know nothing about the new Avengers."
I'm like, well, it's been said or
I'm like, how did
revealed.
you miss it, man?
I know, it's weird, right? Once again, for those of you just tuning in, this is FreeWheeling Friday as part of the Madness Entertainment Group. Do not forget to like and share this with all of your closest friends. If you're joining us live from the replay, thanks for doing so. If you have any thoughts about any of these topics we are discussing here, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. Be more than happy to hear from you as I come in. Thank you to Woody, who's chimed in thus far. Woody, appreciate you, man. With that being said, so all that good stuff, what would you say are some of your favorite video games, past or present? Any video games you're a fan of?
I'm a big Zelda fan.
Zelda.
I love
Wow.
Link. I love Link. Link is my game. I think I've played every single one of them. It's just a fantastic little game to take your time away. And of course, you have to have the Mario Brothers in there too. Fantastic little guys. And I gotta say that one of my favorite racing games was Burnout, because I just love crashing into people.
I just like crashing things.
Exactly. And if you guys ever played Burnout or Burnout Revenge,
Mm-hmm.
that game was just especially the ones where you, how much damage can you cause?
Yeah.
Oh,
Burnout.
fantastic.
Driving around, crashing into things, getting revenge. Revenge.
Exactly.
See, now, like Lex Luthor says, revenge. See, now we're cooking.
And that's what would happen. Somebody would knock you out and you come back, boom, it goes revenge.
So I take it you enjoy Burnout more so than Grand Theft Auto.
Oh, definitely. I love well, my problem with Grand Theft Auto is the fact that I can't play the game and do the story.
Oh, okay.
I can play the game, run around, do crazy shit, beat people up, but I won't play the story.
Yeah,
I mean, the only Grand Theft Auto I finished was one on the PSP.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
And I think that's only because I ran out of things to do.
Run out of things to do. It tends to happen to us sometimes. Wow. Okay. Going from Legend of Zelda with Link to Burnout, getting revenge. revenge. See, now we're cooking, man. Lex has some good lines in those Chris Reeve movies for sure. And by the way, R.I.P. to OG Lex Luthor, Gene Hackman, no longer with us. Sorry to say, but hey, a lot of great performances, a lot of great runs that he had in film and other things he did. So
yeah, Gene Hackman was an incredible actor.
Well done, Gene Hackman. Yeah, he will be missed for sure. You just shot an unarmed man. Well, he should have armed himself. I'm here to kill you, little Bill. That's Unforgiven with our good friend Clint Eastwood. What kind of a stupid name is that? That's a line from Back to the Future Part 3. Just saying. The movie turned 35 this year. Go figure, right? Go figure. Just out of curiosity, do you have a favorite Clint Eastwood movie?
Favorite Clint Eastwood movie?
Yeah. Is it Unforgiven? It's okay if it is, because it won all the Oscars back in '92.
I liked Unforgiven. It was pretty good. He did a good job in it. I think my favorite Clint Eastwood movie is The Man with No Name.
Okay, so the trilogy, like the Dollars trilogy, A Fistful of Dollars, For a Few Dollars More, The Good, the Bad, the Are you saying all three films, or you have one specifically that stood out?
Oh, no. Oh, the whole thing is just epic. The spaghetti Western.
Spaghetti Western.
An amazing thing.
Yeah.
And he does an amazing job as that character through all three of those movies, especially if I'm going to pick one, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Exactly.
Ennio Morricone and Sergio Leone. I mean, come on, man. That's badassery, right?
I always felt like the thing they messed up on, they never got the Clint Eastwood to play Batman.
Man, that would have been something if he had played him in the '60s during his spaghetti Western years. That's for sure.
But a whole different take on Batman, which I love the Adam West one. So
oof. I can't watch the Adam West. I just can't. It's not oddball, corny, over the top.
Again, where I grew up watching it as a kid.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a whole different experience to me.
True, but I've seen Batman the movie, the one that was based off the '60s TV series between him. What was it? Adam West and Burt Ward.
Yeah,
and I'm like, oh, okay, this is fine, but I can't go back to it.
I get rid of a bomb.
I know. Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb. Robin, toss me the shark repellent bat spray. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
This doesn't exist. This isn't real. It's garbage. I'm sorry.
It was so much fun, and to be fair, the comics were like that at that point. At that
they
point,
were.
The show is a total representation of how the comics were at that point.
Yep. Which is fair, but at the same time, I would counterpoint by saying, yeah, that's hashtag not my Batman. I'm sorry.
Because we grew up with the harder Batman, the hardcore Batman.
Yeah, it's not. It's hashtag not my Batman. But if it's yours, you may be watching and listening to this broadcast right now. That's fine. You can live in your corner. But for me personally, I grew up with Gentlemen, Let's Broaden Our Minds, Lawrence. I grew up with the animated series. I grew up with Batman: Mask of the Phantasm, one of the greatest animated movies of all time. I mean, and by the way, for those of you wondering who follow us on Anti-Code Channel, we do these things called movie watch-alongs on the second, third, and fourth Fridays of the month at 7 p.m. EST. For the month of June, we're going to be doing a 30th anniversary watch-along for Batman Forever, R.I.P. to Val Kilmer. We're going to miss you, good sir. And then the week after that, we're celebrating 20 years of Batman Begins, Raphael. 20 years. 20 years. Where the flip has the time gone? Because I honestly do not know.
I don't know.
I mean, I remember as a kid, I remember watching Batman Forever so many times on VHS. All right.
I'm going to theater to see that movie.
I mean, it's just, oh my gosh. Anyway, so if you want to tune in for that, and if Raphael wants to have a seat at the table or just chime in with us at one point or another, we'll make it work. We'll make it happen. We'll see what happens in the month of June, respectively. We'll get to that later on. But outside of that, have you dabbled in comic books yourself? Have you written anything or did artistry for anything?
Yeah, I've worked on a bunch of different things. I'm working right now on my teddy bear superhero, which is what I'm trying to get accomplished, and hopefully by the end of this year I'll go to Kickstarter, but we'll see what happens. And at the same time, I did something with We Suck at Comics, where I did a prose story in their book all about the Taino gods and their battle they're having right now.
Intrigue. Interesting, Smithers. Interesting. Excellent, Smithers. My poor attempt at a Mr. Burns voice. But long live the Simpsons. I can't believe the Simpsons is still going 40 years later. That's insane. Insane. Is
you could have told me when I first started seeing it that it would be on this long.
I know, seriously. Do you have a favorite Simpsons character?
I have to go with Bart.
Don't have a cow, man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why, because, I was young and, mischief just brings on mischief.
Were you just out of curiosity? Were you wearing Bart Simpson T-shirts and drinking coffee out of
never
Bart
got
Simpson
that
coffee
far.
mugs?
Yeah, no, I never got that far.
Never got that
Um,
far. Yeah.
No,
Okay.
no, let's see. By the time The Simpsons came on,
Right.
I was in my grunge stage. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Did you play the Simpsons arcade game?
Yeah. Fantastic game, especially
What?
when you get a bunch of buddies together.
Tossed in a lot of quarters.
Yeah, all those games where you have the people together, the buddies together was great. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the X-Men. Oh,
Did you ever play Marvel versus Capcom?
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, come on, man. Can't have an arcade without Marvel versus Capcom.
exactly.
Or something that I liked. This came a bit later in the process. There was a Tekken Tag Tournament. There was a fighting game. One thing I really liked about video games back then, there was this little thing called Sega Saturn. I don't know if anyone has ever heard of Sega Saturn.
I used to have a Sega Saturn.
Okay, so you know what I'm talking about. So on Sega Saturn, there was this great fighting game called Virtua Fighter.
Oh yeah, Virtual Fighter.
And I played it at my friend's house because we didn't have one at our house at the time. So I played at my friend's house all the time, brother. I played it all the time. My favorite character to play, I think it was Jeffrey, the African American character. Do you know who Jeffrey
Okay,
is?
I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
With the guy with his hair,
They
tied
do
back.
the capoeira.
He had the red,
Yeah.
fingerless boxing gloves.
Mhm.
He was my favorite character. Who was yours? On Virtua Fighter, who was your favorite character to play as?
Oh, that was a long time ago.
Oh, come on, man.
I can barely remember their names. Oh, Virtual
Well, there
Fighter.
was Jeffrey, there was Wolf, there was. Does anyone else? What is it? Woody or Raul? Is it Raul and T? Who's in the chat right now? Do you know who it is?
Look, he said Benson.
Benson's your favorite. Is that your favorite character from Virtua Fighter? Is that what we're referring to here, Raul T?
I don't know, but he
Check
said Benson.
Maybe I'm wrong.
I remember playing the game. I don't remember any of the characters. Which is
Bruce Lee.
weird. But I'm not a big fighting game guy, so I've
Really?
played a lot of them in my life, but I'm not a big fighting game guy.
Really? You played Mortal Kombat, but you didn't really like playing it all that much?
No, and I played it in the arcades. It was fun, but it wasn't like my end all be all.
Okay. Well, fair enough. You missed, dude. Mortal Kombat was some fun stuff.
I was the RPG guy, so.
Oh, okay. Well,
and the racer guy.
Okay, fair enough. Did you ever play Cruisin' USA?
Oh, I remember cruising.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, I
Cruisin' USA. Do you remember Hydro Thunder? Do you remember that one?
Hydro Thunder. That sounds familiar.
Boat racing.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Do you remember boat
playing
racing? Do you remember
Yeah.
that? Like, what do you call those things? Speedboat
that.
racing.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was Hydro Thunder. There was a snow. What do you call it? A snowmobile racing game. I think that was also called Hydro Thunder or Hydro Snow, or it was Hydro Snow Thunder, something
Was
like
it
that.
the same company? I think it was the same.
Yeah, it was the same people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Funny, oddly enough, the first game I ever played on PlayStation, the original PlayStation. This is PlayStation. PlayStation was Jet Moto, which was jet ski racing. Did you ever play Jet Moto?
I remember Jet Moto.
I was there.
I haven't thought
Listen,
about that in years.
when you're a kid and getting a PS1 on Christmas morning, I was ecstatic when I got that. Santa dropped that down our itty bitty little chimney. Yeah, I got a PS1 Jet Moto. The controls, the whole nine. Played it all day. Played it with my brothers because I grew up. For those of you who are wondering, I grew up with two older brothers, and we would switch off and play the games and all that. Speaking of which, Sega Genesis, we would always play Avengers, Captain America and the Avengers on Sega Genesis. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I
to play.
remember that. Okay.
Do you remember that one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a fun one to play for sure. The Avengers, which is what the announcer used to say when the game would come on when you
That
turn
gave
it
me a
on.
flashback.
Do you remember the announcer coming in and saying Sega or Sega?
Oh, that one, yeah.
Yeah, remember Sega.
Sega.
There was Sonic the Hedgehog.
Those commercials are fantastic.
Oh well, who doesn't? Yeah, there was Sonic the Hedgehog we used to play. I'm trying to think. What was another very popular game for Sega that I remember playing? I'm trying to think of. Oh, NBA Jam. There you go. Do you remember NBA Jam? Please tell me you remember NBA Jam.
You're on fire.
You're on fire. Boom, shakalaka. Yeah, do you remember that? Do you remember that?
The three-pointer.
Which team would you always play as in NBA Jam? Do you remember what team you would always play as in the NBA?
I think I always played as the New York teams.
The New York team. So you're New York. What is it called? New York Knicks.
Yeah, I think it was the Knicks.
Okay.
because I would just go on and play. The other guys would know everything about it. I'm not a big sports guy either, so
Neither
they
am
would
I.
be the ones going, "Hey, Ralph, da, da, da." I'm like, I don't know. How could you not know?
Play as the New York Knicks, why don't you? Raul and T says Golden Axe Golf.
Oh
I
my
think that's a
God,
golf game.
Golden
Wasn't that a
Axe.
Golden Axe? Was that a golf game?
Oh no, it was a fantasy game.
Oh, it was a fantasy game. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Golden Tee. I'm
It was
sorry.
another one
Jeez.
of those games where you would play with a bunch of different buddies.
Yeah.
So it had
So
four
you would.
different sections. Oh
Oh,
my
they've had 4.
Yeah.
Okay, so you would play this with your
Warrior
friends
needs
every night.
food.
Well, you would order food. I mean, you would order like what? Like wild wings and stuff like that. I don't know.
I don't know. That's what the game would say.
Oh, the game would say order this, order that.
Yeah, no, it'd be like Warrior needs food.
Oh, well.
Mage needs.
We need this. We need that. Exactly. And then Relative says Sega. Yeah, exactly. Sega. For sure. Once again, this is the one of the greatest show in the history of
Fatality.
exactly network television. This is Freewheeling Fridays as part of the Mass Entertainment Group. Don't forget to like and share. If you have any comment or questions for Raphael, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. If you're joining us live on the replay, thank you so much for doing so. But don't forget to like and share with your closest friends. We appreciate it. So outside of the comic genre you've delved into a little bit, which congratulations on that, by the way. Let's say, I remember a commercial that we were watching when we were a bit younger. And this gentleman who was a police officer was like, I am Scruff McGruff. I want you to help me take a bite out of crime.
I am McGruff, the crime dog.
Exactly. That was it. I was trying to think of what it was. There was another line I couldn't remember, but thank you. You just brought it to my attention. Thank you so much for doing that. So the fact that you brought that up makes me wonder, how did this all come about? Bitten Apple TV, because you're not taking a bite out of crime. You're taking a bite out of the Big Apple of New York City, or you're just taking a bite out of the Big Apple that is the internet?
Bite out of the apple and share it with you.
Yeah. So how did this all come about? What exactly made this happen?
So about 10 years ago, because it's going to be 10 years in October.
Which is crazy.
About 10 years ago, we were working for somebody else, and they were doing a lot of star or bigger media interviews at the conventions. And I was like, dude, there's all these guys that have comic books and they have things that are here in the conventions. We should cover them. And he was like, no, we cover the big guys. I'm like, okay. Then after it was a New York Comic Con in 2015, a bunch of us sat together and said, we can do the same thing. And we can bring attention to the little guy, which is what we try to do, and which is how we started. We try to talk to the guys who are not getting the press, the guys who have all this great stuff out there and don't have the press that the bigger guys have. So we wanted to go out there, get all this stuff, all these interviews, and talk about all the beautiful stuff that people are doing, all these projects, hit the convention floor and cover the floor like it isn't usually covered, because everybody usually covers all the bigger stuff that's happening instead of checking out all the beautiful stuff that's on the floor. All the creators, the indie guys, there's just so much that happens at a convention, and I know you know that as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've been going to conventions 13 years, and I've met a lot of great people, made a lot of networking connections, which is very important in whatever business or industry that you are involved in, folks. Networking. It is so, so important. Pass out your business card, make your elevator pitch, tell them who you are, why they should take an interest in you, and smile and be passionate when you're sharing about this thing. Because smiling is, nothing wrong. That's nothing to sneeze at. But the second thing and most important thing is, let the passion ooze out of you.
Yeah. Because
when people see that passion, they're going to gravitate towards you.
Oh, definitely, right away.
And they're going to say, "Hey, this person over here just told me about this Kickstarter they got going on. I like what I'm hearing. I want to know more. Where can I find
That's exactly what we do. That's exactly what we look at. We look at that passion. We look at that love, that fervor that's out there. The whole reason that we started doing our streaming version of the show is because my artist friends were like, dude, I have all this art. This is during the pandemic. I have all this art. I don't know what to do with it. I said, dude, why don't you come on? We'll do a live show and we'll show the people your stuff. And then, they can try to buy stuff off of you like that. And that's how we started doing the interviews during the pandemic. And that became our new version of Bitten Apple TV, because before we would go to the conventions themselves and do the interviews at the conventions. We still do some of that now. But we have turned more into come on to the show, because on the show you have more time, usually about an hour, to talk about what you want to talk about. On the show floor, if you got 15 minutes, that's a lot.
Yeah, that can be for sure. Who are some of the names who have come through your office doors in the studio? Who has been on your show that you can remember being like, oh my gosh, what a moment that was? Maybe some of your favorite moments from the show.
Dude, it's funny because what ends up happening is a lot of the times we'll have guests that come onto the show, then all of a sudden you see them as guest hosts because they just made such an impact. And I'm like, dude, why don't you come back and geek out? Because I'm always looking for the people that can geek out, have fun, enjoy the conversations that happen organically on the show. Because we're constantly talking about some geek thing or another. It's just beautiful to me. It is always looking for that conversation that you have across the table at a con. There's nothing like that conversation. There's nothing like talking to a person at a convention and you guys just start to gel and geek, and it just turns into something so beautiful. So Phil Russer is one of the guys that has been on the show a bunch of times, and great guy. And he can geek out with the best of them. And of course, Mata Sorcier, who became one of our regulars for a while, great artist. She does all the stuff herself. Her comic is basically her doing the writing, the art, the lettering, the coloring. Amazing artist and a great geeker outer.
Geeker outer. I think we're gonna have to add that to our everyday lexicon. Maybe print that on a T-shirt at some point.
Are you a great geeker outer?
I listen. No one's ever said that to me or anyone here on this set before. I don't know, Pops. Am I correct in saying that? I don't think anyone else has dropped those kinds of words on your shows before. Maybe I'm wrong, but we need to put it on a T-shirt and we need to sell it.
It's so funny because I'm a writer and I'll start using these crazy words and piss off a lot of my writer friends who are like, what's this geekery thing? It's geekery, man. It's geekery. Geekery.
I want everybody right now to freak out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All that geekery.
You're the fat because like Macho Man keeps telling us, better fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy ride.
Yeah.
So many great promos. Is your favorite promo from him the cream of the crop promo, or do you have another? Or do you have another promo
it made such an impression on me that I had to do my own version.
And you, Gene Okerlund, you know that I'm the cream, right? You know that I'm the cream of the crop. I mean, it's the fact that he's
throwing he's throwing it.
Yeah, he's dropping them left and right. He's putting one in Mean Gene Okerlund's pocket.
That was brilliant, man.
He takes it back out of his pocket before he leaves the studio that day. And people were saying in the comment section of these YouTube videos, saying, you know what, I think he just went through catering and just picked up whatever prop he could find.
And he probably freeballed that whole thing.
He probably improved or freeballed the whole thing. Because honestly, the way he carries himself is so good in those promos. One of the promos I keep coming back to, aside from the fact that we all love the cream of the crop promo, because we use it here on the show anyway on FreeWheeling Fridays. Thanks, guys, for putting that together. Love you all. But there's one where he comes in with the Intercontinental Championship belt, and he has a broom. And Mean Gene asks, the first thing he says to me was like, "All right, Mean Gene, what's with the broom? Wait a minute, sweeping professional wrestling completely clean. Oh yeah, doing the thing, like nobody's ever done before. Yeah, Tito Santana, it's been a while since I've seen you in the Boston Garden, and I think that you believe that even though you're headhunting, that you can't beat the Macho Man Randy Savage. It's just the way he carries himself with a broom, and then Mean Gene goes to the ground. He picks up the broom that Macho Man drops, holds it next to his microphone while he's holding the mic to Macho Man's face during the promo. And then when Miss Elizabeth walks in, and because he says, because I'm right on, because he's telling Tito Santana, because I'm right on top of you. Yeah. Ooh, yeah. And then she, gives him a peck on the cheek. And then he says, oh, my dear God, Miss Elizabeth, how are you? Have you been to New York City? You doing a chance to do a little bit of shopping lately? Excuse me, just to interrupt you just for a second. I'm holding a gold belt here. I'm only the champion. You two got a conversation going on. We're talking about a few things. It's just he's upset because they're not focusing their attention on him.
Yeah. It's just
and Mean Gene continues to hold the broom, and then Macho Man says, "Put that thing down. Don't degrade the champion at any time. A man in my position cannot afford to look ridiculous. You understand that? Tell Hulk Hogan that, and tell Tito Santana that." It's just mind-blowing. Go watch it. It's on YouTube. It's brilliant. I probably just quoted 95% of it.
Oh, definitely.
But I don't care because it's Macho Man and it's great stuff.
Yeah, folks, you got to see these guys. It all started with that because that's that beginning of those performances.
Yeah, like they made it a piece.
The vitamins.
They made it. It was an art piece to a certain degree.
Yeah,
and the fact that Hogan and Savage were using props, and Hogan may not have used a lot of props, but Macho Man definitely used a lot of props.
Oh, definitely.
In his, he was using, coffee mugs, cup of coffee in the big time. Yeah. He would use, brooms. He would use coffee creamers, which were, the little ones like this that you can find anywhere else. What else was he using? I mean, he was using, gosh, he was, do you remember the one with the garbage can? That was,
oh my God, yeah.
yeah. He's like, I had to climb through the ropes. Gene Okerlund over here is a crying pal, and I wanted to give it to Tito Santana. Because oh god, it's so good. Anyway, enough about wrestling. We could talk about it all. This is geeking outery. Is it geeky outery? Is that what it is? So
it's geekery.
Geekery. We need to print it on a T-shirt, guys. We need to make this happen so that Raphael, myself, everyone at Bit and Apple TV, people at the other networks that we know of that we could collaborate with. Which collaboration is always a good thing in business.
That was a great thing.
Let's make that a reality, Raphael, and we'll get the T-shirt out to everybody. We can wear it on our broadcast. We can wear it during the show. I think it'd be fantastic, personally. And you mentioned names such as Phil Russert. There's a word called passion. And if you look at the word passion in the dictionary, there's a picture of certain individuals next to that word. But Phil Russert certainly carries the passion of the indie comic business and supporting others, being a team player, helping those who need it most, and just saying, hey, I may be one man, but if we work together as a team, we can do much, right? And I think teamwork is making the dream work around this country. I think teamwork makes the dream work in all countries, all cultures, whatever it is.
Yeah, when you raise with each other, it's easier to raise to the top.
What do we say? Rising tide lifts all ships,
Exactly.
guys. So if you look at it that way, then you could do anything is possible, right? We want to say that. We want to emphasize that. Then anything is possible. So you've done some things in prose, done things in comics, Bit and Apple TV. When you guys have gone to the conventions, who have you caught interviews with? Any big names that we would know of in the business? Maybe whether it's indie comics or outside of indie comics, maybe some of the big names in Hollywood.
I gotta say, one of my favorite interviews was with
what stood out to you?
Good Burger.
Oh, you interviewed Kel Mitchell.
He's fantastic. He's a blast. It was so much fun talking to him. He's very down to earth. You wouldn't expect it, especially from watching his characters on the various shows he's been in. I also like the voice actor for Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Oh, Maurice LaMarche.
No. Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Oh, no. I'm thinking of what is it? Marty Grabstein, I think it is, or Grabstein.
Yeah, Marty Grabstein.
That's it. I'm sorry. I got the names mixed up. Sorry.
Yeah, Marty Grabstein, great guy.
Yeah.
Dude, it's so. I really like when you meet somebody and it's down to earth and they're good people, because sometimes especially in this industry you meet people and what they say that it's true. Sometimes you don't meet your heroes.
Yeah, we've heard that before. For sure. But at least in my experience, my experience at conventions has been very, very good to me. Celebrities at conventions, very, very good to me. I've met some of the biggest names in the business. We've made a lot of connections over the years with indie artists, indie comic writers, some of the best in the world, at least in my opinion. You guys at Bit and Apple TV have done the exact same thing.
Oh, yeah.
Has there ever been a show where there's been 10 of you on set at one time on a StreamYard?
Oh, definitely.
Oh my gosh! How do you handle the
doing
chaos?
The Brady Bunch? We're doing the Brady Bunch.
Yeah. Well, my question is, how do you handle that kind of chaos? How do you handle that?
It's gotten to a point where I find that what works sometimes is introducing other people to other people's stuff. So when you come onto the show, you have a bunch of audiences, and they all start to interact with each other, and that kind of builds the audience, because now you have all these audiences from different people, and they go, "Oh, I like this guy," and all of a sudden they're following that guy as well. But it's also a way to find out about, especially as we do a lot of Kickstarters. When Kickstarters are going, you want as many people out there that can hear it to know about it, and to spread the word, and to all this and that. So when you have more than one guest on the show, it makes it a little easier to do that, especially because they're bringing their own audiences onto the show. And what you need for Kickstarters is as many ears as possible.
Kickstarter. There's one going on every 2 seconds.
Oh, definitely.
There's a platform.
And we are always busy with Kickstarters. We're always busy.
Oh my gosh.
Trying to share with everybody what's going on with the Kickstarter, because it's a hard job.
It is.
These Kickstarters, especially now. I feel like for a while there during the pandemic, it was easier to get people to come and look at your Kickstarter. Now I feel like it's become this difficult thing to get the word out there, to get people to come check it out. I also feel like the bigger industry, the big guys, the Marvel, DC, all these other guys who weren't using Kickstarter before, now they're using it, and they're kind of like pulling that audience that was going after these other books. Because if I can get the bigger book, then I'll get the bigger book.
Yeah. Some of those individuals may be trying to steal the indie comic creators' thunder, but just got to keep pushing, man. Got to keep pushing. You got to keep hustling. As John Cena, hustle, loyalty, respect. Although he doesn't believe in that anymore, because now that we all know that the big news around the world right now is John Cena's turned heel, and he's the most evil wrestler on the roster right now in WWE. He's the WWE champion. He took it from Cody Rhodes. He's running around beating everybody up with no remorse, no guilt, no shame. So, and he's saying, you know what I've been doing for 25 years? I've been carrying and all these promos he's got. I'm like, oh my gosh. I mean, he has embraced this heel turn, man. Like, he has embraced it. It's crazy.
I gotta say, watching him do this now, you sit there and go, well, he is a good actor.
Yeah, he's had a lot of training. He's been doing it for 25 years because he's been in the business for that long. So,
he has.
Makes I believe it's 25 years. So yeah, it makes perfect sense. It's just absolute insanity.
I'm surprised it took him this long to turn heel, because a lot of people thought he probably should have done it a long time ago.
Yeah, I think some people have speculated or said that may have on social media to a certain extent. So yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, John Cena, you can't see me. Well, you playing peekaboo? Of course we can see you.
I gotta tell you, I still think the worst one, the worst betrayal, was Hulk Hogan.
Oh,
I think it is way worse than John Cena, because you were like sitting there going, believing all this stuff that he was saying about the prayers and the vitamins and all this and that, and then next thing you know, he shows up all evil, and you're like, what the?
Yeah, was that a big moment for you when he turned heel in WCW and Bash at the Beach? I think it was in Daytona Beach, 1996 in July, which is crazy for me to say this, but next year will be the 30th anniversary of the formation of the NWO.
That sounds weird.
Because when you're NWO, you know that you're NWO for life. And I am an NWO fan, so, I take the NWO pretty seriously. The other thing I like about the NWO is when they splintered and there were two factions, Big Sexy was running the Wolfpack. I'm a Wolfpack member through and through. I mean, I like the Wolfpack more so than I did NWO Black and White, but even so, NWO is still NWO. So when you're NWO, you're NWO for life. So anytime the rock house music kicks in, or the and you got the the rap song kicking in with Wolfpack, I'm like, dude, I can dance to that all night long. I can't help it that I look good, smell good.
But again, you're talking about that. That's that time era where it was great. Just fantastic, man.
It was brilliant. It was brilliant storytelling.
You smell what the rock is cooking.
Yeah, it was brilliant storytelling, brilliant marketing, the whole nine. And we were all there for the ride, right? It was one heck of a ride. What else has been a wild ride thus far is this episode of FreeWheeling Fridays on Madison Entertainment Group, hosted by yours truly. Do not forget to like and share this. If you're watching us live on the replay, thank you for doing that. If you have any questions for Raphael or myself, let us know in the comments, let us know in the chat. With that being said, because we talked about supporting others and all these great people out there who have Kickstarters and campaigns, and they're getting their work out there and sharing it with the world, we want to take a moment and thank our good friends out there who got some great projects out there, from the past. They got stuff going on in the present, or they got stuff planned for the future. So take a look at these kind folks.
Beyond the world we know is a place where reality bends and time stands still. A place where legends, fairy tales, and nightmares are real. A world where legends are born and destinies collide. Alice has spent her life lost in an interdimensional rift known as Wonderland, and it forged her into a deadly bounty hunter. With her ancient clockwork guardian Big Tin by her side, they hunt the things that stalk the shadows of Wonderland. Alice Lost in Wonderland, issues 1 and 2 launch May 6 on Kickstarter. Follow along at GoMrFish.com.
I am Bo-Katan, and you are watching us on Madness Comic Network.
No, thanks, Bo-Katan. It's nice to be appreciated once in a while. Thanks.
I gotta say that I love those little things because it reminds me of classic radio. Where you would hear that come up all the time. Dude, yeah, it's just fantastic.
Cutting promos, sweepers,
Oh,
liners.
definitely.
I used to put them together all the time when I was in broadcasting school back in the day. We went to a broadcasting school in the state of Maryland, where I'm from. And for those of you who are from Maryland, you know where I'm going with this. It was a great school, got a great amount of training out there. I was learning on Adobe Audition how to cut, produce, put together liners and promos. And we would have stuff like that, like, you're listening to 97.5 or da-da-da-da, and all these liners. And I would find creative ways to throw in pop culture lines, like just stuff from movies. And it was so much fun to produce those back in the day. It was so much fun.
Those sound bites are always fantastic, and it's just like a piece of home.
Yeah, it's in the words of Force Awakens, Chewie, we're home. Yeah, I'm a massive Star Wars fan. I can't help it. And oddly enough, Force Awakens turns 10 this year. Raphael, did you know that?
I cannot believe that.
Force Awakens.
That feels weird.
Force Awakens.
That feels really weird.
The film that brought people back to Star Wars is turning 10 this year, and we're going to be celebrating that on Anti-Code Channel in the month of December when it originally came out. So the holiday season is going to be very busy and lit up with forcefulness. I don't know, that came out wrong, but it's going to be a lot of fun. And it's funny because not only does that movie turn 10, but in 2 weeks' time on the Anti-Code Channel, we're going to be celebrating the 45th anniversary of The Empire Strikes Back. I know. And a lot of people have said that Empire is the greatest Star Wars motion picture of all time. Now, I respect that opinion. I may not necessarily agree with it because, like many, I come from a different generation. My favorite, this is going to shock everybody. My personal favorite is Force Awakens. And then but Empire is in my top 5. It just may not be number 1. And that's okay because there's no right or wrong way to rank the Star Wars movies. Well, there kind of is. It just depends on who you ask. But, in the words of the Friendly Neighborhood Grail Knight, Raphael, they can they chose poorly, or they can look at you and say, you have chosen wisely. I'm assuming you've seen Last Crusade.
Yes.
Okay, I was going to say, because if you don't get the Grail Knight reference, then we got problems. Because Last Crusade is the best. It's my favorite indie movie of all time. That's my favorite indie.
Out of all of them, the first one's good. That one is fantastic. The second one's okay. It's not as bad as people say it is.
Yeah. I've come to
Isn't that bad.
I've come to appreciate Temple of Doom as I've gotten older.
Yeah,
Temple of Doom is very, very. It's good stuff. It's good to me. It's not very, very good to me, but it's good to me. What is very good to me is Last Crusade. That's my favorite one.
It's like the Crystal Skull got so much heat, but if you sit and look at it, it's an Indiana Jones story completely from the ground up. It's just the kind of story that other people like, because it's that same noir, pulp fiction type of stuff. Mm-hmm. It fits that universe, and people go, I don't know where this came from. I'm like, it fits that universe,
Yeah.
if you look at those books from that time period, which them
Mhm.
they're impersonating, it's exactly that. It's sci-fi, it's supernatural, it's all this stuff in a nice little package.
Hmm.
So
So
that's the argument I usually diffuse with the Crystal Skull.
okay, even though there were no films after the third one, but anyway, it's a trilogy for a reason, folks. It's a trilogy for a reason. Hashtag those are the facts of this case, and they are undisputed. But as far as Kingdom of the Crystal Skull goes, so you, in your opinion, they didn't. You think the movie's fine? You don't think they nuked the fridge?
Oh, of course they nuked the fridge, but
I mean,
it's
yeah,
you know what it is? It's that it's like Batman from the 60s.
right.
It's that type of a fun movie. It's
Different
that,
time period.
so if you don't like that type of stuff, then you're not gonna like that movie. If you don't like that campiness, there you go. You don't like that campiness, then yeah, don't watch the Crystal Skull.
What do you think of the last one, Dial of Destiny?
It was okay for what I was trying to do, but at the same time, they should not have done the movie.
Yeah, and plus it's 3 hours long, man.
Yeah.
That's ugh.
And it's funny because you sit there and you look at it and you're like, you're trying to do something here. And I see what you're trying to do,
But it's not working.
Supposed to be an Indiana Jones movie.
But it kind of skewered towards the newer characters like Helena Shaw, his goddaughter.
It's supposed to be an Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah, he's supposed to be like in almost every frame of the movie, but I feel like he's kind of got shortchanged there. Kind of like how Michael Keaton got shortchanged in Batman Returns.
Exactly. In my opinion, what they should have done was they should have brought Short Round back, and he should be the guy becoming the next Indiana Jones or becoming his own thing. He doesn't even have to be that he's Indiana Jones because he has his own thing. And then it's so funny because I was saying that before he became this huge thing again, because I was like, dude, just bring him back, put him into the movie, and we can have this guy do all the stuff because, I already knew he was a good actor and I knew that he was into the martial arts and all that stuff. So I was sitting there going, yeah, just bring him back. And then when he came back and did all the stuff, he goes, oh my God, Ralph. And I'm like, yeah, I told you.
Yeah, it's the old saying, "Told you so."
Yeah.
Crazy, huh? Completely understandable. Yeah, it's just I like Dial of Destiny. I think it was a good way to end the series, but at the same time, I'm like, yeah, the series really ended back in '89 when they rode off into the sunset. That was a perfect ending. So we'll just.
And the funny thing is, because the Last Crusade is actually earlier in the Indiana Jones mythos.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's the opposite because
Temple of Doom was
Lost Ark, yeah.
Yeah, Raiders of the Lost Ark is 36. Temple of Doom was 1935, and then Last Crusade was set in 1938.
Right.
2 years after the events of Raiders of the Lost Ark. So, which, even though it was 8 years between Raiders and Last Crusade, so you could have made it 1942, but whatever. Because 8 years is a long time between 1 and 3, man. That's a long time. But then again, Harrison Ford, Steve, all of them were so busy in the 80s pumping out movie after movie after movie after movie after movie.
Him especially. He did so many movies in the 80s. Folks, go check out his career.
Yeah,
he did more movies than you think he did.
He did what was it, the IMDb. You can go to IMDb, check out his filmography. Didn't he make the movie Witness in the 80s?
Yeah, that was the
Witness.
80s.
Yeah, that was the Amish thing. Yeah. I was just like, dang, this guy's cranking them out like year after year after year after year. And then when you get into the 1990s, he was doing the Jack Ryan movies with Patriot Games and Clear and Present Danger, right? You remember that? And then he did the best action movie that features a president of the United States called Air Force One.
Oh, definitely. Get off my plane.
Which, by the way, everyone says that the best movie. A lot of people have said over the years, according to movie fans and movie fanatics, that they have said on record that their favorite movie president is President Whitmore from Independence Day when he gives that speech. Now, he's a great president, but good. I'll take you and I'll raise you the president of the United States on Air Force One with Harrison freaking Ford. Yeah. Because for a president to escape capture, still save everybody, a few of them did die though, but that's just part for the course. But he saves everybody on the plane, saves his wife, saves his daughter, and he does it by him to a certain degree. He does it all by himself, without any assistance from the White House, right? He didn't get any assistance from the Navy, the armed forces. Is what I'm trying to say. Sorry. And he's Harrison freaking Ford, and he does it all himself. And then he chokes Gary Oldman's neck and he says, "Get off my plane."
That's it. Just for that
And
line
just-
alone. Just for that line alone.
And he throws him.
Yeah.
He throws his dead body off the plane. I mean, how many presidents can say, "Oh yeah, my plane or my car or where my family was, we were under attack, but I took care of it myself." My what do you call it? What's the why am I blanking on this? The Secret Service didn't help me on this one. I did it all by myself. Harrison Ford's one of the few presidents, movie presidents anyway, sorry, not in the real sense, folks, but in a fictional sense, Harrison Ford can go up to people and say, "I was your president, and I saved the day by myself." How many presidents in movie cinematic history can say they've done that? Not many.
No.
Yeah. So, and by the way, for those of you wondering, he did get a chance to play the president for a second term in Captain America: Brave New World. Now, I have not seen Brave New World, but I heard a lot of people say it's one of the worst MCU movies that ever made in the history of film. I haven't seen it yet, so I can't say if I agree with it or not. But
I've heard the balance. I've heard some people say it was a great movie.
I don't know,
I heard
man.
some people say they didn't like it.
I
heard some people say it's a Hulk movie.
Yeah, I got more people saying it was a horrible movie compared to anything else. So
Here's a question for you, because I've been mulling this in my mind for a while, especially when it comes to movies.
I don't know.
I find that sometimes people hate movies just because they hate movies.
Okay,
they don't want to like. No, I'm not talking about this movie in particular. I'm talking about
right, yeah. In general.
And I keep having this thought in my head that I want to bring people together and have like those movies that people don't like, and I want them to actually discuss why they like it or why they don't like it, because I want to understand, because I feel like half the time when people say they like or they don't like something, they are just being parrots of what they've heard.
Okay. I mean, when the movie drops, I don't know if it's dropped on streaming yet, but when the movie drops on streaming, specifically Captain America: Brave New World, because from the very first trailer, when we get a hint of Red Hulk, when he drops the shield on the ground and you see his foot by Cap's shield, I'm like, oh my God, Red Hulk's going to be in this movie? I got to see this now. So like it's insane. So when it comes, and I believe it's going to be available to us soon.
It should be soon, yeah.
It should be very, very soon, especially with Thunderbolts being out, and that's causing a major stir amongst audiences right now. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to watch the movie. And if I like it, great. If I don't like it, hey, at least I tried.
See, but I want to have that conversation. I feel like I want to bring people together and go, you know what? Let's talk The Force Awakens.
Well, how about this?
Why did you say this? Why did you say that?
That's a good question.
The Last Jedi. Why did you say that? I want to have a sit down.
I'll tell you what.
I really I've gotten to this point now where I talk to a lot of people.
Have you?
And every once in a while you talk to somebody and you get the feeling that this is not their opinion.
All right. Well,
you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but here's the thing. If you sit a group of individuals down to talk about Last Jedi, I have no choice but to railroad it because of how much I hate it.
That's what's going to happen, though. You're going to have people who hate it, and they're going to be talking about it.
I saw it. I was there. I saw it in the theater. I watched it again on streaming, and I could tell you from honest experience, even though I've seen the movie twice, which I know is not a whole lot compared to some of the other moviegoers out there, and that's fine. This isn't a competition.
It's not.
But I've seen the movie twice, and in both of my experiences, I thought to myself, yeah, this movie isn't very good, and I got probably 20 or 30 different reasons why.
That's an honest opinion.
But if you sit me down with a group of other individuals and they defend the movie, I'm going to be like, okay, wait a minute. Okay, what movie specifically were you watching? Because here's the thing. Here's a funny discussion I had with some friends of mine the other day. We were in, excuse me, sorry, my throat is dry because I haven't had enough water today. But are you familiar with the Mummy franchise, the Brendan Fraser Mummy movies?
Oh, I love the Mummy
franchise. So here's the thing. Someone wrote in the Discord. We were in a Discord server. For those of you wondering, it's an app you download on your phone. You can talk to people, or you can voice chat with them too, which is a lot of fun. So here's the thing. They were saying how much, this was during one of our shows on A Night Code channel. You can go back and watch the footage. People were saying in the comments, verbally, how much they enjoyed the Mummy 3 Tomb of the Dragon Emperor. And I'm thinking to myself, what movie were you folks watching in 2008? Because I've watched this movie twice. And I can tell you from experience, it doesn't get better on the second watch. It only gets a little bit worse. So because they said, I had 4 or 5 people telling me at the same time, Ryan, Mummy 3 is great. Mummy 3 is great. Mummy 3 is great. I said, you know what, Luke? One of my friends just happened to be named Luke. I know, Star Wars. But I said, Luke, I'm going to sit down. and I'm gonna watch this because it's been a minute, Raphael. It's been a
And
minute.
maybe I'm remembering it wrong. Yeah, see,
So
that's
I'm gonna
important
sit.
to do,
I
yeah.
sat down in my studio the next day after they texted me about, and they posted in the YouTube comment section more specifically, and I watched all 2 hours and change of this movie. And I said, you know what? I got a little bit more of enjoyment from this movie this time around than I did before. So I'll give you that. My still biggest issue with this movie is the and by the way, this is nothing against Maria Bello. Maria Bello replaced Rachel Weisz as Evie, Rick O'Connell's wife.
That's right, I forgot.
And it wasn't Maria Bello's fault. She was given a script. She followed it to the best of her ability. And she's a very talented, beautiful woman, beautiful actress. She knows what she's doing. But for her to pull off a fake British accent, and for her scenes with Brendan Fraser, it just, with all due respect, and Maria, I love you, it didn't work. It didn't work. I felt to myself, if Rachel Weisz was in this movie would be 10 times better. Because in the first two movies, they work so well together, right?
Yeah,
you've seen this.
Amazing.
You've seen the footage. You know what happens.
Yeah.
So, but I texted Luke. I texted everybody in the Discord. I said, "Hey, here's my 2 cents on this movie. It's fun. It's got some good action sequences. I enjoyed that. I like the mythology surrounding the mummy with Jet Li's character. I like the mythology of that because I like that kind of stuff. But outside of that, I was just like, movie's fine. It's okay. It's in the words of Indiana Jones, Indiana Jones says this is intolerable, but this one is tolerable to a degree, right, Raph? It's tolerable.
It's not the greatest movie ever, but
it's not the. Let me just put it to you this way: I don't like the movie as much as I don't like the movie, but I did enjoy it more so this time around the campfire. So, Luke, guys in the Discord, you know who I'm saying. You can take that to the bank. I'm going to take it to the bank, Senator Trent, to the blood bank. That's a Steven Seagal line right there. But
that's the conversation I want to have because
all right, well,
I feel you see, these are true. Like you're giving me true answers.
If you want me to be roped into this 3-ring circus of yours on BittenAppleTV.com and BittenAppleTV on YouTube.com, which by the way, the links are in the description below. I will sit in on these roundtable discussions. If you want me to sit in, I will. Dude, I will make the time.
I am going to
sit on the set.
I feel like I've watched your show enough that I feel like you will be one of those people that will be.
Well, you got to text me. Yeah. You got to call me and be like, "Hey, we got a show going down. We're going to talk about this movie. I need you to be ready. I need you to watch it. I need you to get your mind right. Get your thoughts straight. Let's get it rolling. I want to have a conversation with you." And I'll say yes. I'll sign the deal. Let's do it. So
I feel like I'm going to pick all these controversial movies.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. You pick Batman and Robin. I will tear that movie apart. As much as I love Alicia Silverstone, because all of us 90s kids had a huge crush on her back in the day. And some of us still do to this day. And by the way, she's overcome that. And that's not her fault. But she overcame that career setback with Batman and Robin. She's done well for herself. She's got a family. She's got books out. She's producing some TV shows now, which, by the way, congratulations to Alicia Silverstone. We love you. As if, Clueless, we're always going to love you as that. Cher, remember Cher? Yeah, we can't forget about Cher. So, but if you talk about Batman and Robin, that's going to be a long night. That's going to be a long conversation.
Well, I could never say his name
George Clooney?
All like Schumacher.
You mean Joel Schumacher? Well, listen, it's funny though because I will defend Batman Forever, but I can't defend Batman and Robin.
Batman and Robin, no.
I can defend Batman Forever because they
I can say the same thing as you. I can see Batman Forever.
Batman Forever took things in a little bit of a different direction with Bruce Wayne's psyche and his guilt over the death of his parents. So that was good to see. And Val Kilmer played it so well.
That's what I was going to tell you. I think the biggest, most beautiful part of that movie is Val Kilmer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's great. I thought he was fantastic. And I actually had the pleasure, the honor.
Dude, when I saw Tombstone, I was watching Tombstone and I was sitting there going, dude, he would make a great Batman as I was watching Tombstone.
And then 2 years later, he's Batman.
Before it happened, yeah.
2 years later, he's Batman. He's walking on set. Can I persuade you to take a sandwich with you, sir? I'll get drive-through. And then he just jumps in the Batmobile and goes. Do you remember that? So, by the way,
love Val Kilmer.
Well, let me be perfectly honest with you for a minute because I haven't seen Tombstone in such a long time. I went back on because I have Movies Anywhere account. So I went on Movies Anywhere, and little did I know it was there. So I watched Tombstone one night, and I was like, holy crap, I forgot how awesome this movie is.
Yeah, Tombstone's fantastic.
And I'm your Huckleberry. That's just my game. Well, Johnny Ringo. You look like someone just walked over your grave. I mean, dude, Val Kilmer
Great
owned that shit. He
Great
owned that shit. He walks in there with that red vest, the white silk cotton shirt, whatever that night, man. He just walks in there, owns that shit. He takes people's money. He takes all the money, right? And it's funny because 2 years later, he's starring in two of the biggest films of 1995. He's Batman and Batman Forever, and then he's Chris in the Al Pacino, Robert De Niro crime thriller Heat.
Heat. Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, you've seen Heat, right?
I've seen Heat.
I mean, Heat is just... You saw it in the theater? Well, here's a fun fact for you. Heat turns 30 this year. Because she's got such a great ass, as Al Pacino would say. And you got your head all the way up it. When I think of asses, woman's ass, something just comes out of me. Sorry, that's Al Pacino saying the lines. This isn't me personally. This is Al Pacino saying this to Hank Azaria from The Simpsons in
Dude,
the
every
scene.
time I hear the name Al Pacino...
Are you thinking of Heat?
No, I'm thinking Scent of a Woman.
Oh God, hoo-ah! Yeah. Are you thinking of the hoo-ah speech, or are you thinking of what is it? I will show you out of order. It's, when he's defending the kid at the private school. I don't know.
He did so many. See, it's funny because if you like him, there's a lot of fantastic lines and something.
Well, I think there's a lot of fantastic lines in Heat. I think if you watch the movie,
but Heat's more about an ensemble cast.
Well, true.
That's what the beautiful thing about Heat is that you want to watch an ensemble movie, watch Heat.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. That movie's 3 hours long, but it doesn't feel like 3 hours at all.
No,
it moves so quickly. And I have the director's cut of that movie on digital, so I can go back and watch it anytime I want. Every time I watch it, it gets better. It does. It just
those
it gets
actors
better
together in one movie. Oh my God!
Dude, the diner scene. The diner scene. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The diner scene, man. I do what I do best. I take scores. You do what you do best. Try to step guys like me. It's just, oh God, so many great lines. I mean, it's a 6.5 to 7 minute scene, but it's so good. And did you know that they didn't even rehearse it? They just shot it. They just went ahead and shot the scene. They didn't even rehearse it because I think who was it that said it? I think Bobby De Niro walked up to Al Pacino and said, "I don't want to rehearse this. I just want to do it. I just want to do it." It's like, "Are you sure?" He says, "Yeah. We don't even need to rehearse it. Let's just do it." And Michael Mann said, "All right, we're rolling camera," and then they just did it, and they did it in one night. Did it in one take.
Yeah.
It was insane. It was beautiful. And let's see, we got some trolls in the chat, so we won't pay attention to them. But anyway, for someone who's interested in becoming a indie comic creator, or someone who's interested in becoming a creator on YouTube, putting together their own YouTube channel, what advice would you give to aspiring creators out there watching this right now?
Write your first book, make your first video, do the thing. Because if you don't do the thing, you don't know what you're doing right or wrong. You have to do the thing. Whatever it is, do it. Because that's when you know what you're doing. If you don't do it, then you're going to be in the what ifs. And you don't want to be in the what ifs. You want to be in the, okay, I did this. This is how I can fix it. Or I did this. That was great. Let's do it again. That's what you want to do. You want to be in that place where you've already put something out there and you can look at it and figure out what you do next. Because if you don't, you're going to be stuck in what if. What if I do this? What if I do that? And it's a beautiful place to be in a bad way, because it just keeps you there and it doesn't allow you to do anything. It doesn't allow you to be creative. It doesn't allow you to get anything done. So don't let yourself stay in that what if.
There you go. Enough said. Wish I had a mic drop little clip here, but unfortunately, we now have it here on set. Boom, that's my silly attempt at a microphone piece of equipment impression there. Sorry.
Not bad.
Just saying. No, but that's makes perfect sense. Yeah, I mean,
because a lot of people they really get stuck in this.
Right.
I want to do this, Ralph. What should I do? I'm like, just do it.
Do it.
Stop thinking about it.
So you pull a Nike on them. You just do it.
Yeah, just do it.
Just do it. Yeah. Shia LaBeouf. Just do it.
Dude, you know how many writers do you know that they keep talking to you about, I'm going to write this and I'm going to write that, but they never write anything.
Right. They get stuck in a creative rut, or whatever it may be, which, it tends to, what do you call it? It tends to happen. Some people say, oh, I got writer's block. I got this, I got that. I got the other thing going on. Plus I got 3 kids. I got a mortgage. I got this, that, and the other. I'm like, look, I get it. I mean, Listen, I started writing this, full disclosure for everybody who's wondering. I started writing this short story like a month, like I think it's been 4 weeks since I've worked on it now, maybe 5.
Sounds about right.
And it's because I work a full-time job I work nights, so that's brutal as it is. You come home after work, you're
Yeah.
tired, you're burned
Yeah.
out, you're sweaty as all get out because
Yeah.
I work, I work at Lowe's, so you got to, unpack these trucks, put everything up on the shelf, pack them in the shelf, whatever it is. And by the time we're over and done, it's 6 a.m, and I'm tired. I'm bruised, battered. I'm beaten. I want to go home, gorge myself full of food because you need to get nutrition in your body. And then you take a shower to clean yourself off, right? That's just par for the course. And then I go to bed and I don't get up again until 7 o'clock at night because I work at 9 and then I go to work. So I really don't have any time until the weekends, which, speaking of which, we're in the midst of what we call in our Discord that my friends and I are in, Men's Adventure Fiction May. So those are the men's adventure fiction writers that I've been working with and talking with over these last several months. And I got to tell you, these are some of the best and most creative people in the world. And there's a lot of books that have been coming out, released by other writers such as themselves. I told them I'm in the process of writing a 5,000-word short story that I want to get published on KDP. And I already have a friend of mine who's going to put together the cover, which I'm very excited for. Very, very excited.
That means you're already ahead of the game.
I'm in the process of finishing up the story. Then I got to go back and do the edits. And then when the edits are done, it's ready to be, it looks polished and nice and shiny with a fine-tooth comb. I'm going to talk to my friend and say, okay, let's get this cover going. Here's the idea that I have. Here's the concept that I have in my mind. And then she and I are going to sit down. We're going to go over it. We're going to put our ideas down on paper. She's going to put something together. We're going to go over it back and forth. I'm going to approve it, respect my artist, pay the art, whatever it is, get it up on KDP, get it out to the world, say, hey, this is a short story. I wrote it. I'm proud of it. I hope you enjoy it. If you do, great. If not, hey, I'm just trying to have some fun here.
Exactly.
So
that's all that matters. Have fun.
So I'm in the process of doing that, and I already know who I want to be my cover artist. I already know what my next story is going to be. It's going to be a Western, in case anyone's wondering. We're taking it back to the Old West. Yeah. Don't worry, it's not going to be an Eastwood ripoff. It won't be. Although there might be elements of Eastwoodisms in it because I can't help it. I've watched so many movies and I've read so many books that you get influenced in certain things. You play off of each other that way. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's funny because a friend of mine posted, this is the idea I had for my short story. That's a 1980 set treasure hunter story.
Right.
I got this idea from listening to a piece of music. That was it. All it was a piece of music. A friend of ours dropped a playlist in the music thread of this, Discord server that we're in. It's called Music for Adventure. And she said, hey, I found this music. It was really cool. I use this when I'm writing. Check it out, guys. And I started listening to it, and I'm like, oh my God, this is, my creative juices are turning. I got this idea. And I remember this vividly. I was at work one night and I was listening to this music. It was during my lunch break, guys. Okay. So don't come at me, bro. So I do this during my lunch break, Raph. And here's what happened. The music's playing, the gears are turning in my head. And I'm like, where's the sheet of paper? Where's a pen? I need to write this down. So I took a sheet of paper. I got a pen. I wrote all the idea. I wrote the idea for the general idea for the story. I wrote ideas for the characters, the characteristics of the characters, what their ages are, where they're from, what they're doing, what their what do you call it? Motivations, right? Characters need motivation. So I wrote down the motivations. I wrote down what kind of setting I want to have in the story. Oh, I want to be a set in the 80s. I want to be a set during the Reagan years. I want to set in Cairo, Egypt. I want to and all these juices the creative juices started flowing, brother. Yeah. And it was a beautiful thing because I haven't written anything in 5 years. And it's because I joined this Discord server with other writers,
right,
who inspired me to get back into the writing game. And that's the beauty of life, folks. You can get ideas from the most, random of places, but at the same time, you can also make connections with other people who respect and admire the stuff that you like, and then you could just play off each other that way.
Yeah. So one of the best things for writers is to be with other writers.
Yeah. So I've been hanging out with like 30 or 40 of them, and I gotta tell you, they are the cream that rises to the top. Oh yeah, they are the cream of the crop, man. I mean, and it's funny because someone we interviewed on our show recently, about a week or two ago, Dr. Richard A. Olson, is now a part of the Discord server because he heard about it through me and said, "Hey, I'm interested. Do you think I can join this thing of yours?" This. I said, "Yeah, of course. You're a writer. You've published, adventure type stories or PI, private detective, noir detective type stories. This would fit the bill. I mean, it's men's adventure fiction, man. It all fits." And I sent him the link to the server. He got in, and then everybody welcomed him in the, good to see you, weary traveler thread. And now, we're simpatico here. So we're all friends now, and it's a beautiful thing. So everybody wins, folks. When you work together and play off of other creatives that way, everybody wins, including yourself.
Yeah. Because, it's one of those moments where you actually understand what you're doing isn't weird.
No, it's not.
You have other people out there that are doing the same thing that you're doing.
Yeah, I've had other people say, write treasure hunter stories. I mean, the books we have behind us here have nothing to do with treasure necessarily, but we have Memoirs of an Angel, The Great Pilgrim, written by our good friend Brian Robin. Get a copy of this book at Brian Robin. Where am I pointing? Brian Rodman Weather Reports. BrianRodman.com. Type in BrianRodman.com. Memoirs of an Angel. If this is a story where it's The Exorcist meets Lord of the Rings, so if you're into stories like that, where it's angels versus demons, heaven versus hell, people being exorcised or exorcisms being taken place, you're going to want to check out Memoirs of an Angel, The Great Pilgrim, written by our good friend Brian Robin right here. This one is an anthology called Gideon Kane, Demon Hunter, which was edited by Van Allen Plexico of White Rocket Books. And it has an introduction written by comic book legend Kurt Busiek. Busiek wrote this introduction, and Van Allen Plexico did the editing of this storyline here, this anthology. So if you're into stuff like Solomon Kane, if you know what I'm talking about, like the stuff that Robert E. Howard wrote, Solomon Kane, Conan the Barbarian, you're going to want to check out Gideon Kane, Demon Hunter from White Rocket Books. You can find it on Amazon.com today. #, support the people who are supporting you. So there you go. There's your free, there's your free, bookish type plugs. Because all you got to do, Raph, is take a look. It's in a book. That's all you got to do.
Reading Rainbow. Oh.
Exactly. I grew up watching reruns of that.
But you don't have to take my word for it.
Exactly. There's some great books out there, but you don't have to take my word for it. Dun, dun. There you go. There's the little jingle there that they use at the end of that, or the beginning of part of that segment. I can't remember. I'm glad you remember that, because that is some good stuff.
Oh, I say it all the time. People ask me questions or tell me something, but you don't have to take my word for it.
Do you ever drop the other line on them? Take a look. It's in a book.
Oh yeah, I do it all the time. Like, oh, Ralph, I want to know this. I'm like, take a look. It's in a book.
Oh, I love it. That's great. I've actually had the pleasure of meeting LeVar Burton.
He's a great guy.
He's a great guy. He signed my Reading Rainbow book that I've had since I was a child.
Ooh,
and it was great because I had the Reading Rainbow book insignia on it.
Yeah.
The name of the book, for those of you wondering, is called Kate Shelley and the Midnight Express by Margaret K. Wetterer. It's about a young girl who ventures out into the dark, stormy night to warn that a bridge collapse is going to cause a train to go into this river. So she has to cross over another bridge to get to the the railway station to make sure that the officers do a telegraph and communicate with the engineer saying, you have to stop the train, otherwise the train is going to go into the water. We want to make sure everybody is safe. And it's a great story. Check out the book. I recommend it if you have a child who's between the ages of like 5 and 7 who are wanting to read and thing of nature, which, by the way, literacy is so important. And I think having a physical book in one's hand is more important than anything else. So go to Amazon, go to thriftbooks.com, look up Kate Shelley and the Midnight Express is the name of the book. Strongly recommend it to those of you who have loved ones or children or nieces or nephews, little munchkins out there in the world, or younglings as they're known by in Star Wars. Yeah, LeVar Burton's cool, but we mentioned Batman earlier. I met Val Kilmer twice.
Ah, nice.
And he signed my Batman Forever Diva Dust set, which was nice. And then I had him sign an 8x10 of his time on the set of Top Gun. And it says, to Ryan, I don't like you because you're dangerous. Val Kilmer - Iceman.
That's great. Love that.
I don't like you because you're dangerous. That's right. Ice man. I am dangerous. Yeah, there you go. I come on, man. Top Gunisms all day long. Just out of curiosity, though, when it comes to you and Bit and Apple TV, what does the future hold for you guys over there? What's the plan moving forward the next 5 or 10 years?
A lot of what we're doing right now, I really like making sure that people get the word of what's happening, who's doing what's going on. Make sure that people have fun, geek out. We are constantly somewhere. This weekend we'll be at CradleCon, which is in the cradle of aviation. And fantastic little con, and I don't think that'll ever stop. Us going to cons, it doesn't feel like it'll ever stop. We have the shows on Mondays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, and on Wednesday at 10:30 p.m. Eastern time. So that hasn't stopped for a long time. I just don't see us stopping anytime soon, and we're going to continue to hit the cons. We're going to continue to talk about writing, creating, all the beautiful stuff that we do, because sometimes this is what you guys need to hear. You need to hear other people who are doing what you want to do, or you just want to hear people who are doing stuff that you love and see where they're coming from with it and how they're geeking out or how you're geeking out.
Well, that sounds like a $2 million idea, and we're behind you 100%, because ABC, always be closing. Always be closing. I'm just saying. You ever see that movie, Glenn Ross? I'm assuming you have. Got 7.5 minutes speech. You know what it takes to sell real estate? It's great. AIDA, attention, interest, decision, action. Just remember that formula, folks. And remember your ABCs. Always be closing. All right?
Be the closer.
Exactly. Or, if you're drinking coffee, coffee's for closers. Coffee's for closers only. Which is what Alec Baldwin says.
Oh my God, Alec Baldwin.
I just rewatched that speech earlier today, and I forgot how badass and how on point that speech is, not just for salesmen, but for any profession. It's like, if you're going to get anyone to sign with you or do anything, like if you're going to sell something or make money or do whatever it is you want to succeed in life.
Now that you're saying that, have you ever seen Boss Baby?
Heavens, no. I have noticed. I hate to tell you this.
Alec Baldwin.
I know he's the voice of Boss Baby, but I hate to tell you this. I have no desire to see Boss Baby.
The only reason I mention it is because he has closer lines.
Oh, he does?
In Boss Baby.
That's great. That's great. Did you see the time he parodied it on SNL when he was working in Santa's workshop?
Yeah.
And he was telling the elves, always be closing when you make the toys for Santa. Yeah, look at that speech. It's on YouTube. I think it's on SNL's YouTube channel. You can find it. It's pretty good. I might actually watch that tonight before I go to sleep after this interview is done. Sorry. But yeah, always be closing, folks. Always be closing. With that being said, exactly. Including you, including Raphael, including myself. Yeah. So, but with that being said, I do want to take this opportunity to say thank you to WrittenwritRalf. Is that how you say it? Oh my gosh.
WrittenwritRalf. Yes,
WrittenwritRalf. Okay. Wow. And I thought saying
the show is WrittenWrit. I'm Ralph, and out of nowhere, when I first started recording, because it was a pre-recorded show in the beginning,
sure,
it was like, this is WrittenwritRalf. I'm like, that makes sense. It sounds good, And I was raised with those guys who be like, this is Casey Kasem, this is Howard Cosell, So that I'm like, hey, this is WrittenwritRalf talking to you, straight from our show here, the WrittenWrit. Show where you and I and you take a journey together to become better writers.
I love it. That's a great opener, man. That's a great opener. I mean, forget about closing. Always be opening, but have a great opener. That's a great one-liner right there. We need to record that as a liner and just play it every week on your show. But you can say it verbally, of course. You do a great job of it, whether it's live or pre-recorded. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I do a different version of it now because the show is more about creating.
Mm-hmm.
So I go with the creating route, but when it was the original show with just the writing, and that's why when we first started, we were a network of different shows. At least that's what it was supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
But you know how it is when you have collabs, people drop out.
Yeah.
So it ended up being me and my partner, and we had 2 shows. That's it, just 2 shows, and that's how we started Bitten Apple TV, with those 2 shows, those 2 pre-recorded shows, and then of course hitting the conventions. And my show was about writing, because I was sitting there looking at all these beautiful books that I have about writing. And I sat there and I said, there's something missing. And I figured out that what it is the journey to become a writer. So I was like, hey, why don't I bring you along on this journey of me becoming a writer? And you and I can figure this out. And that's exactly what the show was figuring out writing, the stuff that I learned and the stuff that people were asking.
Even more brilliant. I'm telling you, this is why we're going to have you back in the future. We're going to have you on this show. We're going to have you on And I Quote. We're definitely going to have you on And I Quote. That's got to happen. It's got to happen, brother. It's got to happen. If you're interested, we can have you on one of these watch-alongs we're going to be doing here in the next couple of weeks or months. That'd be a lot of fun. I'll give you the idea of how we do it and stuff like that. If you need any information, I'll text it to you.
All right.
But bottom line is WrittenwritRalf. Ralph, is that how you say it?
Yeah, Ralph.
Ralph. Is it WrittenwritRalf?
WrittenwritRalf.
WrittenwritRalf. All right, just want to make sure I'm saying this. Gee willikers. But it was great to see you. Congratulations on everything you're doing. Congratulations on everything that everybody's doing over there at Bitten Apple TV, taking a bite out of crime.
Same thing with you, Ryan. Keep up the good work. It's good to see people out there getting all this information and talking to people, because I feel like we need more of that stuff.
We do. I would wholeheartedly agree, and it's great to be here with you. It's great to collaborate with you. If you ever need me for something, let me know.
Definitely. I'm gonna call you up, especially as soon as I get the crazy people together.
Yeah, we'll get the roundtables of movie discussions going. I'm sure Nate, Luke, who are the other people we were talking with the other day? It was Nate, Luke, myself. Was it Grayson? I don't know if it was Grayson or not. But some people were saying Mummy 3 is a great movie, and I'm like, what? So that's what I'm gonna do.
I'm gonna drop it in the middle of the room and go discuss.
Yeah, discuss the Mummy, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor, which is the full title of the movie, is in case you're wondering what we were talking about earlier. So, but with that being said, look forward to having you back here. I look forward to doing the show again, hopefully, next week on Fridays, 11 p.m. Eastern time. But for those of you who are unfamiliar with our good friend, I lost the sign. Then, no, I can get it back. Raphael, let it go. Just out of curiosity, if I may say, Raphael, if someone wants to know more about you and the incredible things you're doing over there at Bitten Apple TV, where are the best places to find you on social media specifically?
Anywhere where you can find Bitten Apple TV. It's easy to do. You just look up Bitten Apple TV. If you want to see me, then look up the WrittenwritRalf. And we're on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, even Twitter. Yes, Twitter.
Yes, Twitter. It still exists. No, I get it. We just don't call it the other thing. It's called Twitter. No, I get it.
I'm Generation X. If I want to call something X, I can call myself that.
That's another thing we can discuss. I mean, I don't know if it's going to be topic material for your show on Bitten Apple TV, but if you guys ever want to do a deep dive into the Monday Night Wars between Ted Turner and Vince McMahon, hey, no. I can go all day on watching WCW versus WWE.
Dude, I got a group of friends that love wrestling. I would love to get them together on one show and just let them loose and see what happens.
I mean, if you want me in the squared circle for that shiznit, let me know, because like I said,
like in this corner.
I mean, I watched full-time wrestling from 1998 all the way up to 2006. So I got 8 years of experience in wrestling, man. And I've watched some classic stuff, from before my time, after my time. I've watched a few things.
So I can tell by just talking to you, because you were really good at picking up some of that classic stuff. Yeah,
and Ric Flair. I mean, come on, man. Ric Flair's the man. We had a clip of him in the Freewheeling Fridays promo. We had to cut it out for certain reasons. We had to use other alternative clips, which are great, by the way. They're all great. But the one where he says, "I'm a jet flying, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limousine riding, jet flying son of a gun, and I'm having a hard time holding these alligators down." Whoa! So, but Raphael, it was great to see you. Congratulations. We're going to have you back here soon. Stick around if you can. Going to be with you here in a moment, so stick around. My name is Ryan of Anti-Quote Channel. Follow us across all forms of social media, simply at Anti-Quote Channel. Where am I pointing to? There it is. It's right there below my name. There it is, yes. Keep up to date with everything going on here at Madness Entertainment Group. The simple thing to do is like, comment, share, subscribe. Ring the bell to be notified when the videos go up or they go live. Check out all the stuff we're doing on Anti-Quote Channel. Check out all the stuff that Madness Entertainment Group is doing. Be a part of the madness. They got over 30, 40, 50 shows a week. It's insanity. Hence the reason they call it the Madness, brother. Yeah. And if you want to know more about the madness, well, I mean, simply put, you know what they say, right? Right, Raphael? You don't have to take my word for it.
On the tube and feel the vibe. Every show you crave right here live. Heroes and villains clash in the night. Madness Comic Network sets it right. Scroll through the list, find what you need. Epic battles and fast-paced speed. From capes to cosmic space delight. Tune in and watch your favorites ignite. On Facebook, share the thrill so grand. On X, the buzz across the land. Madness Comic Network all around. In every episode, joy is found. uploads, they never end. Superheroes and their friends catch every twist and every turn. Madness Comic, you will yearn. Stay up to date with every twist. Madness Comic, don't miss a gist. From laughter to tears, every mood. Madness Comic sets the groove. Click that button and subscribe. Catch the wave and ride the tide. Join the fun, join the craze. Madness Comic brightens days. Hey! New uploads, they never end. Superheroes and their friends catch every twist and every turn. Madness Comic, you will yearn. Stay up to date with every twist. Madness Comic, don't miss a gist. From laughter to tears, every mood. Madness Comic sets the groove. Click that button and subscribe.